Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to this Coaches Spotlight webinar. My name is Ellen. I'm joined today by Cass. If you want to say hello in the chat. I also have a few team members joining me today, so if they want to go ahead and introduce themselves as well in the chat. Lots of people already. Hello. Hey, Valentina. Hey, Anna. Hey, Tammy. So you know who the team members are joining us in the chat because they have the team icon next to their name. So you can trust whatever they tell you in the chat. They know what they're talking about. Hey, Max. Hey, Radu. Hey, Laurent. Lovely to have you all joining us. Also want to tell us where you're signing in from. I'm coming to you live from Paris. Cass is coming to us from Amsterdam. So we've already got a few different spots on the map. Romania, very cool. Texas, okay. Philippines, wow. So we've got several time zones.
Is that not at night? Like middle of the night?
I guess so. Thanks for joining us at the end of your day.
Wow. Awesome.
And some early morning people. Wow. Awesome. We're just going to give it another minute for everyone to get signed on and comfortable. But while we are waiting, I just want to point out a few things. So as you can see, everyone has opened up the chat tab where everyone is saying hi and telling us where they are coming from.
Alberta, cool.
Next to the chat tab, you'll see questions. So if you click there, you can actually ask a question in the question tab. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please don't hesitate to ask those questions there in the questions tab. We do ask you to put them in that questions tab as opposed to the chat tab, just because sometimes things get lost in the chat tab. Things are happening so quickly. So be sure to ask any questions you have throughout there in that questions tab, and someone from the team will be happy to answer. One question that I know many of you are probably wondering, I always get this question, this is being recorded. Everyone will be receiving the webinar replay at the very end. So stay tuned for that recording. If you have to leave early, no worries. We won't be offended. You will still get the recording and you can watch it as many times as you would like. All right, we'll just give it another 30 seconds or so, and then we can go ahead and get started. Cass, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
I will.
Thank you. Pull us up on the slide deck, please.
Wow.
Awesome. All right, well, it's been 4 minutes, so I'll go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Ellen. I'm an account manager here at PhantomBuster. I'm joined today by Cass, who I will introduce a little bit more in just a few moments. We have several team members joining us, so if you have any questions throughout the webinar, do not hesitate to ask them there in the questions tab, and they'll be happy to help you out. Today in this Coaches Spotlight, coach being Cass, we're going to talk about how to optimize your CRM with PhantomBuster automation. So if you could go on to the next slide for me, please, Cass. And the next one, actually. So I wanted to give just a brief intro. Oop, go back one. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. A brief intro to PhantomBuster. For those of you who are new here, we wanted to give you a bit of context about what is possible with either your 14-day free trial or any of the paid subscriptions with PhantomBuster. So PhantomBuster is an automation tool, a lead generation tool, where with that 14-day free trial or with any of the paid subscription plans, it gives you access to over 130 different phantoms and flows. So what is a phantom? What is a flow? A phantom is essentially a bot that is able to automate any action for you on the web. So that action might be sending connection requests on LinkedIn. It might be scraping Instagram followers, such as the like. Whereas a flow is multiple phantoms all combined into one to complete an entire automated sequence on your behalf. So some of these flows include campaigns such as lead generation campaigns, lead outreach, email discovery, and actually what we're here to talk about today, which is CRM enrichment. So next slide, please. As I mentioned, we have over 130 different phantoms and flows that might be slightly intimidating for knowing how to get started and how to make the most out of your subscription. So that is why we have created, in addition to all of the free resources that we offer, such as our support team and the help center, that sort of thing, we've also created a program with our Phantom coaches. So these coaches are individuals who have been vetted by us, so we can guarantee that they are pros in what they do, and they are there to help you to maybe make the most of your subscription, to set up more tailored, specific use cases, automation, niche kinds of needs. They are here to help. So if you go to the next slide, please. Here are our coaches. Thank you, Cass. And so just to, one last thing before I finally hand the mic to Cass. Cass is with us here today. He is one of our excellent coaches. He is an automation and recruitment expert. He is a growth hacker, and he's also a PhantomBuster pro. So he's actually been using PhantomBuster for several years. He really knows what he's talking about, especially in terms of recruitment. And that is why the use case that he wants to share with you today is all about your CRM. So if we go to the next slide, before we get started talking about those CRMs, I actually wanted to ask you all, you should see a poll on your screen. Which CRM do you use? We'd love to know. The CRM that Cass is actually going to be demonstrating for us is HubSpot, but everything that he is going to be talking about is applicable to any CRM that you're using. So don't be afraid if you don't use HubSpot. This hopefully should still be valuable to you. And awesome, it looks like actually most of you do use HubSpot. As you can see, 41%. Great. Otherwise, we've got lots of other CRMs represented. Cool. Well, with that, I'm glad HubSpot is still super relevant for you all. I'll go ahead and hand you the mic, Cass, to show us exactly how you're going to be connecting and optimizing your CRM using PhantomBuster.
Thank you, Ellen. Awesome to meet you guys all over the world. Today we're going to show you a very nice use case that we think is very interesting for you guys to use for your own business. We know PhantomBuster can be quite daunting to use. You know, there are a lot of automations you can run, a lot of things you can do. So it's very interesting to give you guys an idea of what you can do today with the PhantomBuster tool to really enhance your business. You guys, most of you guys probably use PhantomBuster for either scraping or campaigning, meaning you do one specific thing with PhantomBuster and then maybe you don't use it for a while. Well, today we're going to start creating an automation layer for your business, which I do as a consultant as well, where you have automations running all day, every day in order to enhance your business. So you can use PhantomBuster just not only for a campaign or a scrape, but also continuously in growing your business. Today, what are we going to try and do? We're going to connect and engage automatically from our CRM, meaning someone comes into our CRM and then we will do an automation action from that and invite them to connect on LinkedIn. How can we solve for this? We'll do a simple setup with PhantomBuster, and Zapier or Make. And of course, we'll end the day with what can we do next? Like what are the low-hanging fruit things you can implement in your business using PhantomBuster in order to grow your business and automate more. What are we trying to achieve? The goal today will be to create a base layer of automation with PhantomBuster from our CRM, which is always running, like we just said before, and we can implement this today. Don't forget, after this, I'll actually share a sheet with you guys that houses everything that we just discussed. So you can implement this today if you like. And the goal is, the process that we're doing is when a new contact is added to your CRM, we will, one, find his profile URL if not already present. So sometimes when you add someone to your CRM, you will also put in his LinkedIn profile, but not always. Maybe someone comes in through a lead magnet or through another automated service, or maybe even through PhantomBuster. So you don't always know for sure that you have a profile URL in there. So we should be finding that if it's not present. Two, send an auto connect invite with a message. Then a message could be something, if we take Recruit AI, which is my business as an example. Hey, nice to have you in the Recruit AI ecosystem. We'll connect soon. Just a very basic message. And then three, ask them to follow the company page, so you're also growing those numbers on your social media. We'll use three tools today: Google Sheets, Zapier, and Make. Zapier will, most of you guys will know. By the way, we're also using PhantomBuster. I forgot to put that one in, but I think that's logical with the PhantomBuster webinar we're running today. And three, Make. Make is also a middleware tool. Not everyone will know it because it's a little bit harder to use than Zapier, but it's really nice to use. So we'll also showcase that. But we'll focus our efforts today on Zapier because most of you guys are familiar with it. And like I said before, a cheat sheet will be shared by the end of this webinar, and it will help you create these automations. Ellen, we have another poll? Well, that's at the end, yeah? So.
Yes, we do. I just published another poll for those of you to let us know which connection tool you're using. So feel free to vote.
Oh, yeah.
And awesome. Yeah, it looks like most of you are using Zapier and Make, mostly Zapier. So great, super relevant for today. Go ahead and continue. Thanks, Cass.
Awesome. So we will start with Make. The only reason being is because it's very visual, and I myself, and I think a lot of you included, like displaying something and seeing it visually made. So we'll start with Make, but then we'll move over to Zapier very quickly. This is actually the flow that we're trying to achieve, meaning this is a node, this is something that happens. So a HubSpot CRM, a new contact is added. That's one. Then that gets added to a Google Sheets, which we will shortly showcase here. This is the Google Sheets that we're running. So this is where people get added into the sheet. Then there is a router, meaning someone has a profile URL, someone goes here, and someone who hasn't got a profile URL goes here. So we'll first finish this one. We have a profile URL, so actually go to an auto connect Phantom with the message that we just discussed. After sending the message, you will update the HubSpot CRM saying, hey, we sent a contact an invite to connect, because you always want to register when you do something with automation. So we'll register that we actually send an invite to Axel, which is our the head of growth at PhantomBuster, who is our guinea pig today. And after that, we will have a waiting period of a few days, and then we will do an auto connect invite, a company follow invite, meaning we invite Axel to follow the company page on LinkedIn, and we also register that. On the other end, when someone does not have a profile URL, first we have to do a profile URL finder. After that, we update the CRM, of course, because we want that information that we just scraped to be in the system. We have to let it wait for a while. So this is actually a waiting tool, and get the output from that. And after that, it's actually exactly the same as here. So that's why I put it like this. This is Make. If you have any questions surrounding Make, please get back to me later. My link is in the coaches sheet, but for today, we will focus our efforts on Zapier, because most of you guys know it very well. For those of you who don't, Zapier is actually a middleware tool, meaning it allows us to easily connect to different tools with a visual editor. I have to go back a little, because we broke it up into several parts. Part one is we just add a new contact to a spreadsheet. So someone gets added to HubSpot, and then we add them to the Google Sheets. And then point two is we add them with auto connect and then to HubSpot, and this is either with a profile URL or no profile URL. We're going to walk through it just to show you guys how this will work. Let's say we have a new contact here. So there we go. So we have a new contact. I already connected this to my HubSpot account, and then we continue. We want all of this relevant information. So this is what HubSpot tells us. And then we should also retrieve the LinkedIn URL, because of course we're trying to send someone a LinkedIn invite. Just to circle back a little, these are the phantoms that we're using today. I forgot to show you guys after. The auto connect phantom, the profile URL finder, and the company follower invite for our accounts. So we need our LinkedIn URL in order to send a LinkedIn invite, of course. So we will get an original record. This is Axel. Hello, Axel, if you're here. And then we create a spreadsheet row in the system where it adds specific properties from HubSpot to the sheet. We need the profile URL, of course, if it's there. And then for the profile URL finder, if we don't have that, we also need all of this information in one specific property, and the HubSpot ID, because we need to update that specific ID later. So let's say we tested this, and then how that would look is that we actually have a start sheet here, And the start sheet is where he's added. So this is Axel. I added him a couple of times in HubSpot in order to trial it out. So in one instance here, he actually has a profile URL, but the other one, he does not. And this is where we actually use a little bit of Google Sheets logic in order to make sure that we create different bases. So we will show that to you in the next part. So this one Zap is actually fairly simple. New contact in HubSpot, add to Google Sheets. Done. Then we will go on ahead to the second portion. Second portion being with profile URL, because that's the easiest to implement. We actually have to separate these two into different sources. Why is that? Because a Phantom needs a source to run. So we can launch a Phantom from Zapier, but we can't hold all the information there. So this Google Sheets actually acts as our external database from HubSpot. So we need to segment the things that we're doing. So we actually used a bit of formula to have all of the with profile URLs. So anyone that gets added to the system with a profile URL is dropped here, and someone without a profile URL is added here. Logical. And then we will use these specific tabs as input for the rest of the system. So with profile URL, we're going to start here. I will show you, I will zoom out a little before we zoom back in. So this is actually a 6-step process where we start at the top, new or updated spreadsheet row in Google Sheets. So this is the specific tab that we just discussed where someone does have a profile URL. That's good to know. So new or updated spreadsheet row. Then we do a webinar, spreadsheet webinar PhantomBuster with URL. Just go back quickly with URL. Just always check that you do this stuff correctly. Trigger any column, meaning if any column gets changed or added, you have to trigger it. And then we say, hey, this is correct because it has the LinkedIn URL in there, it has the name, and it has the HubSpot ID. On to the next portion where we launch a Phantom. This is actually launch of the Auto Connect Phantom in PhantomBuster, so you guys know. So when walking through here, so we go to the Auto Connect Phantom. We have to set it up, of course. So this is actually the URL that we use as input. So we have copied this specific URL to here. Then we'll add the LinkedIn cookie, like you guys done. Just click connect to LinkedIn, and then it will update your LinkedIn cookie. And then it says, hey, first name. Awesome to add you to the Recruit AI, which is my business, again, just as an example, you to the Recruit AI ecosystem. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at this or ask me anything on LinkedIn. Talk soon, best Cas. This is just for the example. Then we can add an email discovery service. Some of you guys might also want to get their professional email. This could be very interesting because you can use this tool. If you use this, then we say you add someone to the system, meaning you have their first name, last name, the company name, and the job title. What you will actually do is by running it through here, you can also find their professional email, which could be very interesting. We just leave this as is, and then we leave this like it is because we're going to trigger it from Zapier. So if we look through here, how to connect Phantom, we don't have to wait for an output. Usually, I would always recommend keeping this on false. This is the cookie it loaded from the PhantomBuster, the profile URL that we need, and then the first name, the profile, and then the first name message that we actually created in the Phantom itself. Email discovery, yeah, you can toggle that here if you like as well. So you can actually control the Phantom from Zapier, which is very interesting. And then just to iterate the name of the column containing the profile URLs, and then continue. So, and when we let this run, so I already let this run, of course, and I'm already connected to Axel, but it would have run here. Next, we're going to create an engagement, which is just a note. So create invite to connect note in HubSpot. So we will log into HubSpot. Engagement type is a note assigned to assigned to me, and the note body is invite sent to the specific HubSpot ID. So that's why we needed to register it before. And what will eventually happen if we do this, then we go here, and then at Axel Brody, we will see one that says, hey, invite sent at the 26th of September, meaning I always know, so you in a HubSpot environment, you want one source of truth. And by logging everything you do with PhantomBuster, you really log and can look back on the candidate journey, or contact journey, which is very important if you're trying to really keep your CRM tidy and you want to know what happened to your contacts. So this happened here. Then we need to do a delay. Why is that? Well, we actually want to invite someone to follow your company page as well, but you need to be connected to that person in order for them to accept. So what we usually do is we set in a delay, and the delay will be 7 days, because that's the time we give someone for them to accept the invite that we send them on LinkedIn. And then we, when that is released, we go to PhantomBuster, and then we launch the company follower invite, which is the one that we have here, company follow invite. And we also run this completely from Zapier, which is very easy, because we say this is the name, false again, the LinkedIn cookie that we do have to put in, my company URL, which I do have to manually put in, and remind yourself to be sure you need to be admin of this specific business, or else it won't work. So be sure you only use your own company page or a page that you're an admin of, and specify the input of as way of input. We want to have the profile URLs because we have those present from the sheet we have here. Of course, in point 1, we put in the profile URL, we put in the column where it is, and then we say connect the invite, or invite to follow. So we do this, and then the same thing as we did before, we need to create an invite note again, so we know what we did, and that is what we have here, invite to follow company page. Done. This is quite basic in the sense that you don't really need to find anything. It's just the logic is fairly simple, meaning you have people in HubSpot, you take them out of HubSpot to Google Sheets, and you use the Google Sheets as a source to run auto connect and then invite to connect. The second one is a little bit longer because we need to add in the profile URL finder. So we'll open up this one, and straight after, here it is, a new or updated spreadsheet row. Just so you guys know, from about here, the bot is exactly the same as we did before, but we need to add a first portion in here, which is of course the profile URL finder, and we need to ensure that that works properly, because if you only put in a name, for instance, let's say Cas van Oort. I know there are about 3 Cas van Oorts in the Netherlands. So if you only put in the name, it won't really, the chance of it getting someone that is wrong and that's not the person that just got added to your HubSpot is actually quite high. So what we need to do is we need to make the chance of it getting the proper person the best possible. So that's why if we go here to the no profile sheet, what we do is we actually have a profile URL which is empty, because of course we don't have that one. Just to be sure, these filters or these formulas are, including the sheet, are all available to you afterwards. So stick around, we're almost ready. So we'll get Axel Borry with first name, last name, job title, and also the company name, which is not in there sadly, but just adding everything that you know about someone's public profile in order to get as close to the right person as possible. We will of course use this URL again as an input, and when we go here, we will get a new or updated sheet from the Google Sheets from specifically this no profile URL worksheet, like we did before. We run a test. Hey, there's Axel again, and we will continue with his record, and then we will launch the Phantom, which is the launch profile URL finder. Let me zoom in for you guys a little, because we're focusing on this part anyway. We launch the Phantom. We do the LinkedIn profile URL finder. Again, we say false. And then we say, these are the profile names that we're searching. So give your profile names one of the following formats is what they say: a full name plus optional. And this is actually company name or job title, but you guys can't see that here. So the real thing I'm trying to say is add as much relevant information about the person as possible to ensure that you find the right person. And then add this one. This is a good one to know. So this is me searching in the Netherlands. It sort of gives off a bit of a weird We'll try again, just to be sure. So this is where that it's a bit jumpy, but that's fine. Like these are all the countries, of course. If you're a worldwide business, you can also select nothing, meaning you just search for name and job title, which works great. But let's say you're a national business and I'm only conducting business in France because PhantomBuster is French. So then be sure to also toggle the country, which makes your narrowed search even better. But just FYI, if you also have foreign people, don't do that. This is the LinkedIn cookie, and the rest of it really works as regular. I will also show you guys the profile URL finder just to be sure. Same thing, we don't really have to put in anything here because we actually take the input from the spreadsheet, remember? So that's actually not true for a minute. So it's good that I have you guys here. So no profile URL. I forgot to put this one in. So be sure to put this thing in here. Thank you. And then we don't need to fill this in, and then we can let it run. So this works well as is. Normally, you would need to refresh the fields here. So don't always forget, Zapier works statically. So meaning if I change something in PhantomBuster, I need to refresh the fields, and then it will actually take the new situation from here. So this works great. Continue. Thank you. Continue. Then we have a delay, meaning we have to let the tool find the profile. It doesn't work instantly. If you've ever seen a profile, if you've ever seen a Phantom run, which you can do from here, you will see the progress being made here. And it usually takes like 30 seconds. But if I don't put in a delay, it's instant. And if it's instant, it will just say, hey, I don't have a profile URL found for this person. So we need to make it wait for a few seconds. I let it wait for a minute, which is more than fine. And then we run through the same system where we say an auto connect that we do here, and create an invite to connect the node after the auto connect, then do the delay for 7 days again, launch the invite to follow company page, and then do the node add at the end, which will eventually mean that anyone that gets added to your system, and this doesn't matter if it's HubSpot, if it's Pipedrive, ActiveCampaign, or for the recruiters out there, if you're using an applicant tracking system, it all works the same as long as you have, as long as it connects to either Zapier or to Make. We can build this flow. You can build this flow yourself with all of the things that I provide for you today. Point. I think this is it, Ellen. Are there any questions out there that are now being put into the chat that we can answer?
Great. Yeah. So the first question that I've seen a lot, yes, this is being recorded and everyone will be receiving the replay. And then we've received a lot of questions asking about other CRMs. So just if you want to confirm once again that this is possible if you're using a CRM that is not HubSpot, Pipedrive, or Salesforce, as well as if it's always going to be compatible. If not with Zapier, will it be compatible with Make, or do you have other workarounds?
Yes, so there are always workarounds, but the issue with that is that you can connect nearly anything to API, which is actually the way that tools communicate on the back end. But the issue with that is that it is expensive to find. So what I would always do is, also if you're selecting new tools, ensure that either in Zapier or in Make, there's already a connector there. And you can check if they have a connector by going to Zapier and then typing in, hey, do we have Pipedrive or ActiveCampaign? Or for the recruiters out there, do they have Recruitee or Greenhouse or Recruit CRM? And as long as they have a node there, it will work.
Okay.
If somehow the company you work for has a tool that you really need connecting, and there is no Make or Zapier integration, we can also help you out because we have developers on staff that do this daily. But the nice thing about this middleware tool, as it's actually called, is that it's just very cheap because you implement this once and then it just keeps on running, and all you do is pay your credits monthly, which to run an automation like this costs around if I have to guess, like 20 euros, 20, 30 euros or dollars, and then you're already there. So this is a very cheap way of setting this up, which is awesome.
Great. Love cheap. Love a deal. Well, in that case, it looks like all of the other questions have actually already been answered by the team. So I guess we can do our final poll. I'll just go ahead and publish that for everyone. So last question that we wanted to ask everyone is whether or not they would be interested in a coaching session. As you can tell, Cass is obviously an expert, and this is just a quick glimpse at what he is capable of. We didn't want to overwhelm you with everything that he could help you with. This was an example using Zapier, using HubSpot, but of course, if you need help setting up your specific CRM, or if you're using a different tool, Cass is definitely the man for you. And it looks like many of you are interested in a coaching session. Amazing. Cool. Well, in that case, before we end this webinar, I'll go ahead and share that coaching link with everyone.
Awesome. And then we can end on what's possible, of course.
Yes, of course.
I think because that's all one that's very what are next steps? Like, I firmly believe that if you implement automation using PhantomBuster in your company, what you'll find is that you can save lots of time. And the funny thing is, it's sometimes not even about saving time. It's about creating replicable results. So meaning that someone knows what they can expect and knows that they are notified or invited to connect or get a message when something happens in the system. So just by using automation, you structure your business. And I think structure is always a very good thing to set up. So the possibilities of what you can do next is you can set this up for multiple employees. Of course, if you have 10 people working that are in sales, for instance, that are all adding people to the system, you need to set this up for 10 employees, and that's a little bit harder to do. So if you need that, hit me up. Scraping LinkedIn data. So like we discussed before, we haven't even spoken about profile scraping here, but you can actually add this into the CRM as well, into the flow, meaning I add a job title and I add a person's name, and then the system will actually retrieve all of the data from LinkedIn for me and populate everything in the profile. So this is a good one. Set up the email discovery tool like we actually just did when going through the Phantom. Setting up a job change scraping. So what we actually also like to do is that when people change jobs or do something else, we actually like to update that into the system as well. Because if you have a contact now and he's going to another business, it's always good to stay updated with him. And also add a feature in HubSpot that will account for auto-connect, invite send, and ask for to follow company page, which I actually already did for you guys. And those are my parting things. I hope you guys have a lot of success and fun with automating as I do on a daily basis. And have a great morning, day, night, wherever you are.
Great. Yes. Thank you everyone for joining. So I just shared that cheat sheet that Cass created in the chat. So everyone, when you receive this replay, you will also receive the chat history. So feel free to access that cheat sheet there if you don't take a moment to open it now. I'm also going to be sharing with you the invitation link to join our Phantom community. So moving forward, you can always contact our support team by sending an email to support@phantombuster.com, or you can actually communicate directly with our coaches in the Phantom Slack community. So I just shared that link in the chat. I'll share it again so it doesn't get lost.
Well, and before I forget, we are sharing lots more content on LinkedIn around using PhantomBuster to automate easy and difficult tasks. So don't be afraid to send me a LinkedIn invite, because we'll start sending out lots more videos on LinkedIn soon.
Very cool. Well, thanks for your time, Cass, and thanks everyone. Thanks the team for handling the chat while we did the talking. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any additional questions, and also stay tuned in the Phantom community, where we will be posting news about new features and upcoming webinars. So thanks everyone for joining. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.